Welcome to chillTV's 2020 election coverage and another election conversation with the candidates. And this time around it is Chilliwack-Kent and Jeff Hammersmark. And here to clarify what has been a rather interesting 2 weeks, shall we say, I'm Don Lane. Jeff Hammersmark with the Greens. And Jeff, first off, the $64,000 question. You're back with the Greens. What exactly happened to get where we are now? You had to make a number of decisions.
Yes. So initially, when I decided to run for the Greens because I've always been a Green. But my main motivation was to defeat Laurie Thronis myself because I think we needed change in Chilliwack-Kent. And so I did the paperwork. I went out. I got my nominations, and my campaign was really building up. There was a lot of excitement. So many people came out of the woodwork to help me. It was really exciting. And then I found out that there was going to be a quote-unquote all-star candidate putting in his nomination papers. The name wasn't being revealed on social media, so my spidey senses were going off a little bit. And eventually I found out it was Jason. That was basically the day before nominations closed.
And we're talking about Jason Lum here. So.
Jason Lum, yeah. So that was the day before nominations closed. And I reached a moment where I thought, well, if he is going to run, maybe I should step back. But it was also a very last-minute nomination campaign for him. And I thought there was a chance that, maybe he couldn't get his papers in on time. So what I did was I pressed ahead with my own nomination papers, and I secured the nomination, ended up running for the Greens on the ticket, and then Jason's campaign was confirmed the next day, I guess it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's so Jason is now, the day later, literally 24 hours later, Jason got his paperwork through. Then you made a decision.
Yeah, like I said, my main motivation, and I don't want to focus on Laurie too much, but, I really think he needed to be out as MLA. So when Jason entered the race, I did some thinking about it, and before he was confirmed, I really did see a path to victory for myself. At that time, it was just me and Kelly Padden of the NDP that I knew of. Laurie was a politically vulnerable candidate and very controversial, and Kelly, I had a brief conversation with her. She seems like a great person, but I just feel like the NDP is not really a viable option for many people in this riding. So up to that point, I saw a path to victory for myself. When Jason entered, more or less I saw that path to victory disappear. And I don't want to focus on calling it my path to victory. Really, the path to seeing Laurie defeated was disappearing. So I decided to do what I did and throw my support behind Jason.
So now you are back as a Green Party candidate.
Technically, I never was out as a Green candidate.
Okay.
What I had done was I decided to stop campaigning. So I sent out my letter, which was taken off of social media fairly quickly, but my letter did get out, and it stated that in the interest of seeing Laurie defeated, that I was putting my support behind Jason, and
there we are.
Yeah, there we are.
Okay, now Jeff Hammersmark with the Green Party. And first off, have you had a chance to talk with the leader, Sonia Furstenau, or that's still in flux?
I haven't spoken with Sonia myself yet. I suspect that may happen in the future. I'd love to have a conversation with her. Yeah, it would be really neat to have a talk with her. I'm really supportive of her platform, obviously, and her vision.
Okay. Let's get to some of the hot button topics for Chilliwack-Kent, one of which is homelessness. A lot of people would think you have Promontory, you have Garrison Crossing, but you do have a situation, especially along the riverbanks, along the Chilliwack River, along Chilliwack Lake Road. Any thoughts via the Green Party and your feelings on how to deal with the homeless situation in Chilliwack-Kent?
Well, one thing I can say about the Green Party in general is that they're always looking to get to the root cause of the problem. Putting a Band-Aid on a solution is not something they like to do. When it comes to homelessness, specifically in Chilliwack-Kent, obviously we would want somebody advocating for direct support in the area. But in general, the Green Party would be looking at solving the root causes of homelessness, so mental health support, that kind of thing.
Another hot button issue that has been brought up is Highway 1 expansion and rapid transit. On Chill TV, we've just aired the 4-part series, The Rail Choice, and South Fraser Community Rail and Rail for the Valley. Those two organizations would like to see the resurrection of the old BC Rail, or at least something down the middle of Highway 1. What is the Green Party's stance, and perhaps your stance, on expansion with transit vis-a-vis Highway 1?
I think anything that gets people out of their automobiles and moving in more of a mass transit type way is going to be something that the Greens support, and definitely that I support. I'm lucky. When I moved out to Chilliwack, I found work in Abbotsford, so my commute is decent. But I know there's so many people. A family friend of ours actually used to commute from Chilliwack to Vancouver Airport for work. And that's crazy to do in a car. So I think anything that allows many people to move from Chilliwack further west in an efficient manner that doesn't involve having to necessarily widen the highway or encourage more cars to be on the road would be something we would look at.
Now, again, for those that don't know you, married, a couple of kids. When did you come to Chilliwack? Are you from Chilliwack?
I grew up in Surrey. I was born and raised in Surrey, and me and my wife and my 2 kids moved out here about 2.5 years ago. We moved out here because we were running out of space in Surrey. We were in a little 1-bedroom condo, tiny. Kids were starting to move around, so we needed to get into a bigger space. Couldn't afford it in Surrey. Couldn't afford a house, let alone a bigger apartment even. Looked at Langley, too expensive. Looked at Abbotsford, almost, but what we were getting for our money was still a lot of money. And then we looked at Chilliwack and we said, okay, we can actually afford a decent place to raise our kids out here. So that's what attracted us to Chilliwack here. I've got 2 little boys. Oldest was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 2. And that really motivates me, I think, to make sure that we have an inclusive government. I don't want to run the risk that our government is going to pick and choose who they want to help. I think everybody needs help.
And dealing with the healthcare system firsthand because of that situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeff, I know this was short notice. A big thank you. Anything else that we missed? Was there a point that you wanted to get across, or have we covered our bases here?
I think it's important to maybe clarify for some of the viewers that might not be sure of who they want to vote for. If somebody is thinking about voting for the Greens or voting for Jason Lum, what I would say is this. If you feel very passionately about the BC Greens vision, Sonia's vision, which I totally understand, that's why I ran for the Greens. If you feel passionately about that above all else, I think you should vote for me. However, if, like me and my family, you care more about ensuring that Laurie Thronis doesn't represent us anymore, I encourage you to vote for Jason Lum. I had a good conversation with him. I think he's the right person at the right time. I look forward to seeing him win, hopefully, in this election. I know it's a weird thing to hear a political candidate say, I hope my opponent wins. But I think this whole situation in this riding, it truly does transcend politics right now, or partisanship anyway. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing and speaking out, supporting Jason. And
I would assume you covered the bases on social media, Facebook, website, etc.?
Yeah, sorry, but I covered the basics.
Okay, the website address is... What, Jeff Hammersmark?
Oh, for me personally.
Yeah. Well, do you have a candidate page, or is it linked to the Green Party or your Facebook page?
So I should have a candidate page back up and running on the BC Greens website. I did have a Facebook candidacy page that I took down when I decided to stop campaigning. So if you'd like to learn more about me, have a conversation with me, I can put that page back up. You can look for me, Jeff Hammersmark for MLA on Facebook.
Great stuff. Jeff Hammersmark, Green candidate for Chilliwack-Kent. You're watching Chill TV and the BC 2020 election coverage with another candidate interview. We will be having more of these as we lead up to election night coverage, which you will find exclusively on Chill TV Saturday night, October the 24th, starting at 7:30, just before the polls close, with Bud Mercer and Clint Hames as moderators, and yours truly will be doing the statistics. Again, Jeff, big thank you. You're watching Chill TV News.